We have a true treat today. So pulling back the curtain, we've got a very acclaimed architect, Ross Piper, who's been here in Atlanta working as an architect for over 20 years, most notably working with famed Norman Askins, and has just a font of knowledge in this space. So thank you and welcome, Ross Piper.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
And of course, we have Lauren Skudowitz, who knows Ross very well, and she's about to tell you exactly how.
So Ross and I have, over the last 6 years, done 4 major renovation projects together. An exterior facelift, 3 bathroom renovations, and then a very large kitchen expansion off the back of our house. So I'm really excited to have him here today. So Ross, we have heard right now from contractors that they're swamped with their renovation projects. Are you incredibly busy also?
We're pretty busy. It's been that way for a while now. It's changing a little bit, and I've talked to other architects too, and that project seemed to be getting a little bit smaller right now. There were a lot of new houses in the middle of COVID for some reason, and it's not slowing down, but things are getting smaller.
Smaller scale, smaller houses.
Not a bad thing at all. Love it all. Just renovations instead of new houses, and some of them aren't even full houses. A lot of porches, outdoor spaces, things like that.
Makes a lot of sense.
Redos, offices.
Right. All the things that everybody through COVID knew they needed and didn't want to have to make.
Exactly. And they're dying to get out of their house, so they're going outside. And, nobody wants to go to the neighborhood or club pools anymore. Build them at their house.
They just create the amenities at home.
Mm-hmm.
So our next question for you then, Ross, is what trends are you seeing in design and renovation projects? And tell us more about, I personally have seen people wanting actually more designation of spaces, whereas before we saw these big open concept and you walk in and everything is open. I personally have seen a shift back to more designation of spaces, and just wondering if you've seen that too, and just trends overall.
I love that question. So I would say back in the 20s, we had small little claustrophobic openings going, from foyers to dining rooms to kitchens, etc. And then just like you said, the 90s hit and boom, let's take out every wall in the house and let a couple columns hold everything up.
Right.
And that is completely out. And now we're in the middle. We're wide openings going from room to room. So we still have the flow, but we have the designation of the spaces.
So it sounds like generous spaces, but purposeful spaces.
Purposeful spaces, sorry. And you don't want amoebic ceilings. You kind of want defined rooms. And when trim wanders and wanders around a space, that's kind of part of that 90s feel. Tradition does play a lot of part, especially in Atlanta, Georgia, and things have gotten more transitional, I would say. Which if I had to pin down my style, I would say that. But in order to do it correctly, I think you have to have a firm knowledge of the past and the different styles. And then the house transitions from walking in the front door into your old Atlanta home. A lot of times the living room on one side, the dining room on the other, not necessarily every time, but come in traditional detailing. And as you get to the back of the house, you transition into something much more relaxed.
Yes, I love that. Because I think that's so important. We have so many historic neighborhoods within Atlanta, and being able to harken back to its heritage, but still create something very refreshed is important.
Exactly. And I'm sure that's what you guys are seeing a lot as well.
Yes.
And something just to plug Ross here that he's very good at is understanding and playing up a home's, initial like design and style, right? So like our home is a 5-4 and a door brick traditional, right? And so in keeping with that, he was able to make recommendations that, don't look like a, 1920s, in town Atlanta historic home. While those are beautiful, right? Like when you mix different styles, it comes across, I think, looking, like something's off.
Exactly. You don't want it to look like an addition.
Yeah.
It needs to tie in. I like to say, make the house what it always wanted to be.
Yes.
You need to understand the original style of it in order to do that. We
don't want a bad facelift. We need the face to look like a very skilled surgeon came in and made it look like it's
exactly. Yeah. You need to have a good plastic surgeon for sure. A bad nose job.
We're going to do another Pulling Back the Curtain series just on that. So
you easily could and compare it to architecture and real estate too, I'm sure somehow.
Okay, so you touched on this slightly, but just another follow-up question. Some clients think they only need to engage an architect if they're doing a whole home renovation, like if they're buying a fixer-upper or popping the top and adding on. But I would like for you to clarify this for our viewers. Can an architect be helpful focused on a bathroom or a mudroom or an outdoor porch or outdoor kitchen? Do you get pulled into those types of projects as well?
Definitely. I mean, you want to get the details right and tie everything into the rest of the house. So I think an architect is going to do that a lot better than a builder trying to come up with what kind of trim needs to be used, or sometimes even a decorator. Decorators are very needed, colors and pillows and stuff, but we like to do the trim and keep it in style with the house. Now, can a project get too small? Probably can. Like if somebody is just, like you said, redoing an office, okay, let's just match trim around the room and I'll give them my advice and move on. If I do think it's not worth them, hiring us, I'll be honest with somebody. But no, for the most part, there's not really too small of a project. It just needs to be done right.
Okay. And then hinging on that, tell us at what point during this process that someone's going to need to call and say, Ross, need you bad.
The beginning. I would love to be called first. The builder needs drawings that he can react to.
Sure.
So many clients will bring a builder in, spill their ideas, and say, how much is this going to cost? And the good builders will say, I need drawings first, so they know what they're actually trying to price. So I would say very beginning.
Love that. Okay. And I have to ask for my own curiosity. What is your favorite type of home to design and do plans for? And where have you worked that you loved in the city?
I think I like, honestly, any style as long as it's done right.
Ooh, yes.
So where's my favorite place to work in the city? That's a really tough question to answer. I don't know, because it kind of goes with the first part of my answer.
Sure.
As long as the house is done right to the right style, I love it. I guess if you made me, I love old neighborhoods, like right across the street from my office is Brookwood Hills. I love it. A lot of traditional, well done stuff there. Historic Brookhaven, I love. A lot of stuff around Chastain Park. Love vacation houses. Don't get to do a lot of them, but they're just fun. But anywhere, Dunwoody, Sandy Springs, there's a lot of work there.
Love it. So
Yeah.
anything's just done right when they call you first.
Right. Right.
Well, thank you. I think this is really helpful for our viewership in knowing at what point they call you. I personally have been in Lauren's home and you've done a fabulous job. And I think
Thank you.
really spot on with what you said in not making something confused, a home confused. It's got to feel succinct. It's got to feel like it was always that way, but just somehow became refreshed.
Good word. Good word. Confused.
Yes.
It's
You don't like that.
the Sheila molding that's throughout my home.
Sheila molding. Well, Sheila molding is not like a technical term. That came from Norman Askins' office.
Oh.
And they're actually a friend of mine, Sheila Rogers, there's a plug, worked at Norman's for a long time. And I don't know the exact story, but it branched off of her.
Okay.
But a lot of firms use that word now. Some of the trim people know what it is. But I think I can see it in the background at your house. It's I love it because it's not really wide like a normal casing like that. It's like this, but it's really juicy. It sticks out a lot and it works great in tight spaces, and you can run paneling like back there you have the shiplap running into it. It's nice that it accepts materials running into it because it's proud of it.
I love that. We just got a little trivia dropped on us too. Thank you, Ross. This has been a pleasure speaking with you.
Welcome.
We will, of course, have your information should any of our viewers need your expertise. So thank you again, Ross. We appreciate
Thank you. I appreciate it. Have a great one.
Thank you.
Thank you.